Good morning, guys. It's April 28th, 2021. I'm Kimberly Jolly from Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube, and we have lots of new stuff, lots of stuff I've stitched, lots of whips, lots of finishes. So excited. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to start with Peppermint Lane, which is right here. It's our brand new cross stitch. We loaded it yesterday. So about 2 or 3 years ago, we launched this book, which was based on a quilt that we had done years and years ago on our, I think it was like on our blog or something. So we kind of repurposed it and turned it into a cross stitch. And we're going to have a sew along. I'm going to go ahead and do that in July as part of Jolly July. So we'll pop up the dates now, and later you will see this on the blog, but we're going to start with week 1 with the gingerbread man and the house, and then we're just going to move down to the ornaments, then to the trees, then the wreaths, the stockings, the candy canes, and then the gifts. And then I decided to put the border last so that if you're interested in kind of staying caught up, you could do the border as you go if you wanted to. And with this one, we decided to go ahead and get it framed at Hobby Lobby just to try Hobby Lobby to see how it looks. And we think they did a pretty good job. So they did a 2-week turnaround too. And they do a little bit different sticker on the back than my other place. So we stitched this on 16 count antique white. And Cheryl stitched it, and we decided to do this one with just DMC because I feel like the colors are just kind of perfect. So sometimes we'll do multiple colorways, but this time we just did DMC. So we've got a pattern, a thread pack, and fabric. And actually, here's our pattern. So here's the quilt pattern. And so we kept it very true to the colors, and this fabric right here was originally Moda fabric by, I believe, Bonnie and Camille. And so we just kind of kept the colors pretty true. So I hope that in Jolly July you will stitch along with me. It will end in August, so that'll give us plenty of time to get the sew along going. So I'm seeing that Gianna made the 2012 or 13 quilt that matches, so it's a must-have. Yeah, it's going to be so cute. I actually have the quilt. I'm going to try to bring it. I got to find it. I think it's in one of my son's rooms. Let me see what year it says we published this one. Let's see, 2018. But then we had originally done it like before then. So, so pretty. Good morning from Alberta. How does DMC Light Blue Aida compare to Touch of Blue by Witchell? How does Light Blue Aida DMC compare to? I think that the DMC is a little bit lighter and the DMC would be stiffer than Witchell. So Witchell is pretty stiff, but that's what I prefer. So this is Witchell. So I like it because it has a stiffness to it. But DMC Aida can sometimes be too stiff, too crunchy. So that would be my comment on that. And then Lori Holt is saying good morning from sunny Utah. It's like spring today. Here it's really like kind of muggy, but it's not too, it's kind of nice. So I wanted to show, okay, Kimberly, what is the pattern to your right on the bottom shelf? Love it. I am gonna show that as part of previous finishes. So I'll show that soon. I got a finish done this week. So this is Home Sweet Home. I stitched this on pale gray gingham 14 count by Fabric Flair, and I used the called for DMC. And so what I'm gonna do with this right here is these are all my leftover threads. So if you look at my cross stitch organization from home video where I have the jars, what I'm going to do is open the jars, and any of them that have this DMC number, just add it to the skein that's already in the jar. And this is the Beekeeper by Lori Holt. So and then what I'll do is scratch all of these off, or peel them off, and then probably run it through the dishwasher or Dove soap or something and like get all the sticky off, and then I'll use it again. So I am going to save all my thread. And the only thing different that I did with this one You can see that Cheryl made our sample, and that sample was made on Aqua 14 count by Zweigart. At the top, what I did different is I reversed the colors of the flowers. So I thought that was pretty good. And I'm going to send this. We already bought this little piece and mailed it to Priscilla, so I'm going to send it to her to finish. And she finished Cheryl's piece with Prim fabric and Lori Holt Rick Rack. So that's awesome. So that's my second finish. And then I'm going to answer questions. I'm so glad that you love the gingham cloth because I love it too. I feel like I'm using it on like 3 or 4 things, and I feel like I might outdo it. I might use it up so much that I get sick of it, but there are some other colors in that gingham. So I am going to try some of those, or get one. I'm going to ask them to make one that's like more of a lighter brown. Happy birthday, Amanda Bush. And let's see, is this a PDF? So the Peppermint Lane will be a PDF in 6 months, and the Home Sweet Home will be a PDF in about 4 months. So what we do is we put them out as paper first for 6 months before we release them as PDFs. Are you ready for Stitch Mania? It'll be my first, and I'm so excited. Yes, I'm ready. I'm not sure my hands are ready, but if you watch last week's video, I have everything prepped, ready to go. I have everything in its bag. So I will be showing Stitch Mania throughout May, and we're just calling it FQS Stitch Mania. And Sharon says, I love your blouse. Thank you. And Julie is watching from Australia. She says she can't sleep. I don't have that problem. I can sleep anywhere, anytime. I can fall asleep. I can fall asleep right now. So I'm going to move on and show you the Shine On cross stitch that I'm doing. It's from the Bonnie Camille Quilt Bee book. So this was last week, and then I'll do the pop-up and show you. This week will be kind of over here. So you can see that there's like the bee and the flying geese and the house. So that's quite a bit that I need to do. So my plan is to kind of start you can see right here what I did is I did the roof. So I just need to fill in the house, and then I'm going to do the bee, and then I'll do the flying geese. I didn't start with the flying geese because I was afraid if I counted over here I might count wrong. So I kind of am doing the top, and then the week after I'll do this part. This one's actually going pretty fast right here. So that's pretty fun. I'm using the called for Cosmo floss. And let's see how I have it in my bag. Oh, I also have it on my beekeeper. So this one, because it's Cosmo and not DMC, if you look at my other one, this one is DMC, and so I use these little DMC stickers that they sell. But with Cosmo, they don't sell stickers. So I made those with a label maker at my house and then just put them around. And then when I bought the floss, anything that's an extra skein, I just leave in here. And then when I run out, I'll put it on here. But the same thing, when I'm done, I will move them to little flosses. And Laura says she loves doing the stitch along, and it breaks down such a big piece. And I agree. I really feel like if you just do a little bit each week, you can kind of get through it, because you can move from project to project to project, and it kind of keeps you going because you have something else to look forward to. I don't feel like I could do something this big and just start it, go all the way through and finish it. There's no way I could do that. When you cut the DMC to put on the floss biddies, then do you put the leftover strips on the cardboard bobbins? So when I'm done with my floss biddies, I put them on floss flowers. So let's see if I have some in here. These are the floss flowers. They look just like this. And this is how I have them stored on my video. That's my cross stitch organization at home. And each of them I put the little DMC sticker, and so I will move them to these. And if it's a fancy floss, like a hand-dyed floss, I leave it on those cards. But the DMC I will put here, and the Cosmo I haven't really decided what I'm gonna do. One of the questions from Life as a Mom is, how long do you cut your floss? So if I start with DMC skein, I will cut it into 8 strands, which comes out to about 8 yards. If I'm cutting Weeks Dye Works, I cut it into 4 strands, which comes out to a little bit over a yard. So I just kind of divide it until I get about a yard. I don't want it to be too long, but then like Classic Color Works and Color and Cotton come pre-cut. And then Cosmo, I do the same thing as DMC. I just cut it into like an 8 yard increment. Tammy would like to have me explain the difference between the different brands of floss. I've always used DMC, but could switch to others if they're better. So I love all the threads equally. I love DMC. If I'm using something that needs a lot of Aqua, I will use Cosmo, because Cosmo does have better Aquas than DMC. I like Aura Floss because I don't have to cut that into strands. So if I just need to pick something up and not have to worry about it, I like Aura Floss. And I use all the fancy flosses. Basically, when we decide what we're going to put with our patterns, we always try to include DMC, because DMC is easily accessible at Michael's and Joann's, and you know, all around the world, everybody can get it. And if we can find something that looks really good with another manufacturer, we will add it from time to time. It just kind of depends, but we go based off of color solely. Really not off of anything else but color. And so when I cut my floss for cross stitching, I do about 1 yard, but I divide it into whatever's even from this, and even that I can just loop. What brand label maker do I have? We can Amazon link that. Lori Holt bought it for me as a birthday gift, and I think it's like a P-Touch. It's just a brand, it's just like a Brother P-Touch. Do you start stitches lined up with a block on gingham cloth or anywhere? I just start anywhere. I think the first time I used gingham Aida fabric, I did pay attention to that, but then I realized it didn't matter. So as I've done a couple more, I haven't paid attention. Do you have a how-to cross-stitch video? I love the way your backs look. We are recording a beginner cross-stitch series, and it will be releasing over the summer. But I can talk about my backs though. So when you're looking at the back of my piece, I do start with a loop method, and I've done several videos on that in my Stitchy Talk. But I do the loop method because I think it's just easier. And then when I'm done, I try to run the thread through the same color. So like over here, I'll put my navy through my navy, or my red through my red, or I kind of keep the color within the color it's at, because if I have to pull out another color, I don't want those threads coming undone. How do you decide what to do as a stitch along? Do you have a team meeting? We have a lot of meetings. We have too many meetings. But anything that we release as a Lori Holt pattern, or a It's So Emma or Fat Quarter Shop pattern, we're going to do a stitch along, because we want for people to actually finish it and feel accomplished. And so that's kind of where we start. And then from there, we kind of just decide whatever we think. For me, if I'm doing something for like Priscilla and Chelsea, I'll divide it out as a stitch along for me and like show different parts. That way I can actually finish it. Janet Turner says, good morning. I'm stitching fresh cut. How are you stitching the single green line stitches? I haven't started it yet. So I am going to start that next week. So we'll look at it next week, but I haven't started it yet, and I don't know which stitch you're talking about actually. Can you explain how many strands to use and the difference between fabrics? I'm new. So if you're new, I would start with 14 count Aida and use 2 strands and just start there. And from there you can grow, and we do have this cross stitch key, and on the cross stitch key it will show you the different counts and how many strands to use. So, and it also tells you the needle count. But if you're a beginner, I would go ahead and just start with 14 count 2 strands. And we can start with super chats. So we have some super chats coming in, and there's my little dog Piggy. And Goose Denise says, good morning, FQS for me and Miss Gracie. Good morning, Denise. And good morning from Decatur, Alabama. I have not cross-stitched since 2003 when my mother passed away. You have talked about the loop method. What is the loop method? So go to Stitchy Talk January 2021 video, and I talk all about it in that video. Do you ever mix brands of floss on a project? Typically I don't, but a lot of people do. Cheryl does. For example, the really beautiful piece that I showed last week, that was a Teresa Kogut design that Cheryl stitched. If you look at that design, she mixed different thread, and that was called for by Teresa Kogut. So, you know, it's kind of up to you. I tend to just stick with one, but you can do whatever you're more comfortable with. Ellen Sharp says, will there be more projects using Lori's Aurifil Prim box? Not right on the radar right now, but maybe in the future. The next couple don't use it. Crafting a Plan Life says, if you cut your floss into approximate yard lengths, how do you bobbinate so it doesn't get tangled? So I usually just put this, I'll show you how I do this one. This is my floss flower. So what I do here, and I usually just use floss flowers just because they're cute and I like everything to be cute, is I kind of hold it taut and just kind of go over, cover up the previous stuff. I just hold it real tight. And then here, when I get to the end, I use scissors, which I don't have right here, and I just poke it under. Thanks. I just poke it right there. And then of course I like it to be cute, so I just hide it in there. So that's how I do it. What are you stitching next Tuesday? I forgot. I know you have said. Oh my goodness, let me think. Okay, I'm stitching the brand new Sail Away pattern, which is, I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna start because I am a little bit nervous about doing this actually. So this is our brand new Sail Away mystery. And we started with the chain border, and I'm so nervous. I've never done a full border first. So I think what we'll do on Stitchy Talk next Tuesday is stitch across here, and then I'll go down and down. And as I go down, like if I'm right here, I might count all the way across to make sure I end up like at the same spot over here. Just every now and then check to make sure I'm still on track. Where can we share our plans for Mania? FQS Stitch Mania will have a Facebook. Will they have a Facebook group? No, but you can use the hashtag FQS Stitch Mania, and lots of people will be using it, and so you can use it on any social media channel. Laura Marshall says, the stitch guide is amazing. Used it to find the start point for the first time ever since you showed it, and it was amazing. Thank you. Yes, I kind of felt like there were a lot of tools out there that had all of these different things, and I just had too many things in my bag, and I decided to put it into one thing, and I do use it to start right here. So kind of what she's talking about is I will put this on the corner, and then I know where to start. So you can start at the 2 or the 2.5, and I guess on this one I did the 2.5. Do you know when 14 count beautiful beige will be in stock? We're gonna look real quick. I'll move to the next question though while we're looking. Let's see. From Valeria Bauer, 1999, you're amazing, from a dancing pair. Thank you. So Piggy says thank you, Valeria. And we're going to look at the beautiful beige. Should be soon. Next week. When will more of the Flea Market Flowers DMC thread packs be available? I think I made more yesterday. If they sold out, it will be about a month. We have all of the threads except one. So if you wanted to, you could just go and order each of the threads. There's only one that's short, and that comes from France. And so whenever France sends it over, we'll get it. Everything's kind of delayed. What is the deepest, darkest shade of purple floss? I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't really use purple, so I don't know. Danielle Huggins, good morning. And guys, anyone in the chat, y'all let her know what the deepest purple is, because I'm sure somebody in the chat knows. Danielle Huggins, good morning. I belong to the Fabric Flair Club, and I accidentally threw away my insert for the suggested stitches for Shabby Chic Pink Barn Wood. Are you able to show that? And we are, because we're about to film a video of how we store, how we store the fabric in our office. So here we go. So when you get your Fabric Flair Club, it will show you ideas. So this is our cross stitch alphabet, antique scissors, and then this is Home by Needle Bling. So luckily we had that in the room. When will the next series with the patchwork bunny be out? So the patchwork, we started with a patchwork heart, we're doing a patchwork bunny, and then we're gonna do a patchwork that's Americana. So it will come out in June. Maybe late May, but June for sure. Do you know when Lori's Feed Sack Aida will be in stock? Yes, it should be in stock in June. And actually all of the colors will be arriving around the same time. So we're thinking early June is the last I've heard. Good morning from my hairdresser. Getting my hair colored. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I got my hair cut on Monday. Oh yeah, Monday. I was so excited. And the lady always makes fun of me because I don't like to go get my hair done because I don't really like people touching me. And I don't like people touching my hair. And so I wait till the last minute, and she was like, could you have waited like a little bit longer because my hair was like all black. Mary says, can you tell me what pattern is in the top left side of the shelves behind you, the long narrow cross stitch? Yes, that is monthly markings. And so if you go to the very first video in January of 2021, we talk a lot about the monthly markings and kind of how we recolored it. So it is a pattern by Bent Creek and Heart and Hand. Sorry, it's a pattern series by Heart and Hand, and it's 13 patterns, one for each month plus the border. And she has colors on there that are called for, and then we changed our colors to do like a Kimberly version. I just joined the Lori Holt Cross Stitch Club. What will be my first card? It will be the next one, which I believe will be I. And if you want any of the previous ones, you can just email us and we can send them to you at that price. What brand needle for 14 count? So I use Pat Carson, and they come packaged like this. And I use 26 on 14 count. And there's 25 in here. And then I put them in this little needle case. Wilma Evans, I've been stitching the Heart and Hand Valentine bird. I stitched the Rhodes heart 3 times and unstitched it 3 times. Are there any tips on stitching this heart? I haven't stitched that one. I'm going to look at it real quick and just see. But definitely if anybody in the chat has... oh, so maybe the long legs might have been... so if I was doing the legs on that, I would go a half stitch all the way down. And then I would triple count it and then do the half stitch back up. That would probably be... Or you could do outline the bird and then just fill in. That way if your outline, your full circle meets, then you'll know that it'll meet. Busy Bee Jordan, is there a coordinating quilt for the Shine On cross stitch? Yes. And it's right here. So that's the front of the book, and I actually made this quilt. So I'm gonna hang this quilt in my sewing room and put the cross stitch with it. So the cross stitch is based on the quilt. And we match the threads to the quilt. Why the long delay before releasing PDF? It means those not in the US have to think carefully before paying the high cost to import even paper patterns. So that's a business decision based on the quantity of paper that we have to buy to be able to afford to print in-house. So we like to print our patterns in-house, and to be able to afford to do it because we pay for a huge printer that costs a fortune, and we have to buy our paper in a huge amount of bulk. So it's a business decision. So it's kind of like the same thing that you have to think through of buying it. It's just a way, that's the only way we can afford to do the paper. Because if we release a PDF, nobody would buy the paper, and we wouldn't be able to afford to do the paper at all. And then we would only have PDFs, and then we have complaints because we only have PDFs. So it's kind of like a balance that we play, kind of like you guys do. So it's kind of the same thing. Thread needle. Hi, Kimberly, loving the live today. Have you stitched with Lori's tapestry needles? I haven't, but she uses them and she loves them, and I think she uses mostly size 26. Donna White, will you have floss packs available for newer housewives pattern? Yes. And Donna Allen said, on sale away, what gray Aida will go with the DMC floss pack? I want gray instead of blue. I think we could pick some gray. We're gonna pull the chart right now, which is right, I just had it. And we have some gray over here that we can grab. And I did have the cross stitch. Okay, so we'll grab it and we'll pull this out, and we'll put this on some grays. So over here on the side, we kind of have just some fabrics hanging out, luckily today. And we'll just pull some grays and see what we think. Thanks. Okay. This is Touch of Gray. I think this might be too dark. Let's see. So that actually looks pretty good. Touch of Gray looks good. I would go with that. I'll show you some others, but I think that looks really good actually. Icelandic Gray, which was a recent club. So that's why I have all these, is because I'm in the club. That would look good too. So that's Icelandic, and then I'll show you Graceful Gray. I think any of them, I would probably go with this one, which is Icelandic Gray. I'm gonna try to separate them so we don't mix them up. Could you tell me what pattern in the top left side of the shelves behind you, the long narrow cross stitch? Okay, sorry, I already answered that. Can you get the gingham in 16 or 18 count Aida? Yes. Denise will email them today and we'll ask them if they can make it. And we'll probably do all the same colors because I'll probably use that too, so that would be great. Okay, so the next thing that I worked on is this pattern by Rabbit Valley Studio. So this came out during Needlework Expo. And I really liked it. And I've been looking for something that I can take to baseball games because my son is playing baseball. So this is what I've been doing, and I'm just kind of filling it in. Now I will tell you, these stitches look horrible. Can you zoom in? They look horrible. I looked at them this morning and thought, oh my gosh, my stitches look horrible. They're kind of messy because I'm doing it at baseball. So yeah, so this one will be done whenever this one I didn't put like a time limit on. Usually, you know, I break things up into little sections type thing. I didn't do that with this one because I'm just doing a fill-in, and I am doing the loop method with Week Sty Works, and I'm just kind of stitching wherever. And so it's, even though I'm doing the loop method, it does still have variegation. So I'm using the same threads that were in my America the Beautiful called for colors, because I had already kitted that for myself. And I'm just using the same dark blue, the same red, and I'm using eggshell. And then I use the called for DMC in this pattern. So that's my next one. And then, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of this, you guys. This is like the struggle. The struggle is real, people. The struggle is real. So this is my Kringles. I started it last year, and I think I'm never gonna finish. But I have room 8 done now. So this is the top. Now I haven't done any of the back stitch or French knots or any of that, or colonial knots. I'm going to do that at the very end. So it took me about 10 hours to do this. And since I kind of went ahead and filled in this because Mania's coming up, and I wanted to be able to just be able to fill in the room. And so this is basically I'm at 125 hours for this. I can't wait to get it framed, but I can't wait to get it finished. And the reason I'm struggling with it so much is it's an even weave. I'm stitching on light ash 28 count Lugana, and it is just really hard for me to stitch on Lugana. 25 count is perfectly fine, but 28, I just can't see it. And so you can see that I kind of changed the name, and it does look a little bit not as good because there's so much black over here. But yeah, so for Mania, I'm gonna finish this. So I have to fill in, like there's a big border right here, and then fill in. But at least it's like, at least it's outlined. Like that's something, right? So, oh my gosh, Lori said, Kimberly, just keep on going on Kringles, 1 stitch at a time, and you will be done. I know, she keeps telling me that. She keeps telling me that. And then Julie says, oh my gosh, I love it, Kimberly. And then your horrible is my normal. That's so funny. Let's see, where is that? Oh, your Rabbit Valley looks fine. Oh my gosh, it does not. In person, I was like getting a needle and like trying to move the stitches. It's because I'm not going to take a big old, I'm not going to take my light to the game because it's light outside. I should be able to see. What's the difference between a French knot and a colonial knot? We do have a video on our channel that Cheryl filmed for us. A French knot, you twist, you go over your needle twice to the right. Colonial knot, you go to the left once. I don't think either of mine look good, but I do think my colonial knots look better than my French knots, but I am horrible at all of that, and even back stitching. We should have a champagne party after Kimberly finishes Kringles. Oh my gosh, it will be epic. Yes, but we're going to have Merlot instead of champagne because I don't like champagne. But yes, I will be so excited. I think that the lady, when I take it to get framed, will be like, oh my gosh, you did something big. Mammy says, thank you, Kimberly and FQS team, for all you do. I look forward to watching you every week, and it's my happy hour. Oh, thank you. That makes me feel good. How is Piggy? Oh, Piggy's good. Piggy had surgery yesterday. So because he's a pug, it's really good to take them in to get their teeth cleaned like every other year. And he's actually really bad at the vet. That's the one bad thing about the breed, is they don't cooperate at the vet. So I go ahead and get all his vaccines done at the same time while they put him under, and he didn't have to have any teeth pulled or anything. But yeah, he's really good. Will the Bonnie and Camille cross-stitch piece be available as a PDF? No. Sorry, on that one, no. Do you still use petite needles for hands for when I'm doing cross-stitch? I have stopped using them because I was breaking them too much. But I do think that I can go faster with them, but I just break them too much to where I just couldn't justify the expense of buying them. I just kept buying them and thought, oh my gosh, this is like I was wasting too much money. Katrina says, I'm a new cross stitcher and made up my own cross stitch curriculum for Mania. I have a list of videos to watch, take notes on, and try out techniques. I'm using some of the Stitchy talk. Awesome. That's an awesome way to do Mania. I should do that. Hannah says, when does the next Serendipity part come out? So May 1st, which is Saturday. Would you be willing to do a fancy floss conversions for Lori's flea market flowers? So on that, no, because what Lori, okay, so at Lori's house, Lori has all the floss. She has all the DMC, all the weeks, all the classic, all the gentle art. She has all the floss. She could not get the look of the DMC into that, which is the only reason we didn't do a conversion. She didn't feel like any of it looked good enough, so she just stuck with DMC. Jennifer, good morning. Kimberly, you look great in blue. For Mania, for Marina, are you doing a new start every day for Mania? Yes, I am, but I'm not. So I am doing a section each day. So I have about 5 or 6 charts that I'm doing, but I'm alternating between the days. So not a new chart each day, because I did that in 2018 or 2019, and that was just like way too much, and I didn't finish, and then I felt like I wasted money. So I really only committed to what I know that I can finish. Thread needle. My flea market flowers floss holder arrived. It's gorgeous. I can't wait to use it. Yay, me too. I have to use it too. I love it. For the flea market flowers floss holder, we're half sold out, and that's one of the things that we're going to make once and only once. So if you're wanting that before we start the flea market so along in June, pick it up before we sell out. Amy Barlow, any tips on alternatives to a 28 count Lugana? My stitches are not turning out great. So I would stitch on 25 count Lugana because you have more room for your stitches to go. Your piece will end up bigger, but that is what Lori uses a lot. And when I stitch with 25 count Lugana, I still cannot go as fast as Aida, but I can stitch with Lugana. I will probably never stitch another 28 count linen, even weave, any of that. It's just the holes are just too hard for me to see, and I end up unstitching just too much. And when I'm stitching, I love the finishing of it. So I like to be able to do as much as possible. So the quicker I can go, the better, which some people say takes the joy out of it. But for me, it doesn't take the joy out at all because I can get so much done. So the faster I can go, the better. Esther says she wants to stitch the Snow Village. They suggest 32 count French linen. Would you use an Aida? So I did Snow Village, and I used 18 count Petty Point on gray, and it looks great. I've shown it in some videos, but I'm not going to ever do 18 count again. 18 count is just too tight, so I'm going to stick with 14 and 16 count. So another thing that I finished, well, I didn't finish, but I did finish, but I didn't, is right here. So this is Farmhouse Christmas by Little House Needleworks. So I'm doing each of these once a month. So January, February, March, April, and oh my gosh, we're almost into May. So for Mania, I'm gonna do this piece, and it is a quilt block. So that'll probably go pretty fast. This one took quite a bit. It took me about 9 hours to do this. There was just a lot of thread changes, and then I kind of went a little bit far here. So I am gonna finish part 5 in Mania, and then June, July, August, September. So I'll be done in September. And my thought was that when I finish this in September that I would move to Glitter Village. But I still have not found a fabric that I love enough for Glitter Village. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do there. And we do have a question about the printed calendar with my schedule for Mania. And yes, we finished it this morning. We're gonna post it on social media. We're gonna actually go back and post it to the blog. So that will be available later today. Life as a mom. After watching your FlossTube home video, I bought a basket for all my whip bags. Game changer, they're all in one place. Yes, it makes it so much easier. and it also, to me, having those bags, so she means like these little bags. So like having them in a bag, it makes it neater, but it also makes me want to pick the bag up. So the more that I have in there, the more I know that once it's in the bag, I've got my fabric, my pattern, my everything. So will there be enough coverage if I did 18 count with one strand? So that is how Lori does her 18 count. So Lori Holt told me I should have done it on one strand. So yes, I think just try it out in a corner and see what you think. Can we see the back of Farmhouse Christmas? Yes. Hopefully it's not a mess. So yeah, so I just pull my threads right under and I go, you know, it's not, I did travel a little bit. That's funny. So like here, you can see I didn't travel, but here I did. So, ooh, I must have been out of time to travel. And I'm using Beautiful Beige 16 count for that. And we did have a question last week that I thought I would go ahead and show. We did have a question about Prim Stitch series. This is the Prim 25 count Lugana. And I stitched this. This is Lori Holt's design. And we have it to where it's a big enough piece where you can do this either single or the full piece in one. And if you want to see the full piece in one, we will show it when it's done, which will be a couple of months, but you can also see it on Lori Holt's channel. But what we decided is that this was the closest that we could get where the thread would still look good. So it is Cafe Mocha Country French 14 count Aida by Witchell. And this is a softer Witchell than normal. Anything that says Country French means it's softer. And really, a lot of the other browns that we had for just really, let me see. She uses a lot of these colors, and the other browns, we just did not feel that these colors would look good on. So even though it's not the same color fabric, it's going to work with your thread. So that's the closest that we got, and we sell it in a 27 by 36 inch piece. So you can either cut it up and do these individually or as one piece, and the SKU is 386252. Does anyone railroad their stitches? So I do. I only do the top stitch, and it depends which one. So like on the one that I just showed that's home, I don't railroad my stitches because it's just a little small piece. I'm just gonna throw it up in my house somewhere. But with Kringles, I'm railroading. With Farmhouse Christmas, those bigger pieces, I am railroading. And it kind of depends, you know, where I'm at, what kind of piece it is. Any idea when I will be getting in 16 count charcoal Aida? It's on order, right? Yeah, so we'll check and we can let you know. We can answer your question in the chat later, or in the once we publish the video. Can you explain in the next Stitchy talk about how to use different size cloths makes the final piece measure different? Yes, we're actually going to do that in not Stitchy talk, but we're going to do that in our beginner cross stitch series. If you could see one of my finishes from years ago and my finishes now, you would know without a doubt what a great teacher you are. I'm no longer embarrassed by my bags. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. But I don't feel like you have to do everything like me. I just do it because that's the way I like it. How do you keep the edge of your cloth from fraying? So if you look on the edge, this is just a basic zigzag stitch from my machine. And here's another one. So just, and I don't ever change the color of the thread, it's just whatever. And then this one I will say, I remember kind of doing this one. This, because the fabric is not as stiff, it really kind of made my stitches small. So I ended up not really loving that. How many strands for 16 count? So I use 2 strands on 16 count. When does the flea market flowers stitch along begin? June. And we do have a chart of the 6 sections on our blog, so you can check there so that I can give you the exact dates, because I don't want to tell you wrong. How much fabric do you allow for the edges and a larger pieces? 2 inches or more? I try to do 3 inches, but if I don't have a big piece, like for example, when I'm working with, when I do anything Priscilla and Chelsea's on that black, chalkboard black, I cut that up and use, I only will give myself a 2 inch because I know I'm going to be using just a scrap of leftover. So it kind of depends. If I have a big piece, I'll do 3 inches. If I don't have a big piece, I'll do 2. What size needle do you recommend for 10 count Lori Holt fabric? Size 28. 24. Sorry. I went the wrong way. I get it reversed. 24. Rhonda says, let's see. Beth says, I'm using DMC 746. It's sparkly metallic. It calls for 3 strands. It's unraveling. Okay, so I have never used metallic thread, but what I have read is to cut it super short. So if you're usually use like a 1 yard strand, start with the 18 yard strand, because you can actually look this up on YouTube. You can Google, or look up on YouTube what actually happens to metallic thread as you run it through. And there's somebody who has like a microscope that shows you, and it just kind of does this kind of thing where it unravels. So I would start with a shorter stitch length, and I would use the brand new thread conditioner by Lori Holt that comes in this. I think I snagged the actual, let's see. But I would use the thread conditioner. I can show it to you in a second. When will the beginner cross stitch series start, and when do we sign up? So it's going to be a weekly series. It's going to be quite long. It's going to start sometime in the summer. So it's probably going to be like at least 20 weeks, and we will just release 1 video a week. And we'll give more information when we get closer. So with the metallic thread, I would use this thread conditioner, or thread beeswax, but only on the end. So like if this is your thread, pretend I would just do the end. I wouldn't do the whole thing. I would just do the end on the metallic thread. Will the Prim stitch cards be offered as a bundle once they're done? Yes, absolutely. Can you demo the railroad stitch? I can do it on Tuesday's Stitchy Talk, and you can also check that out on, you can just Google railroad stitch fat quarter shop and something will pop up. Did you say you were doing sail away on camera? Yes. This Tuesday, 9 a.m. Central Time, we will have Stitchy Talk where I show stitching it, and I'm just going to start stitching the border. When you use the loop method and you don't use the whole thread, do you continue to use one of the smaller pieces of thread that are left, and do you do the loop method again? Yes, I will save any type of thread that I can. What is railroading? So railroading is where when you put your needle back through the thread, if you've got 2 strands, you split the difference and you put your needle through it, and it makes your stitches lie flatter or straighter. When can we buy fresh cut as a pattern by itself? May 3rd. How do you keep the cloth from distorting when stitching in hand? So this is how I stitch in hand. The first thing I will do when I do this one, the first thing I do is I will roll this up as small as I can, and I will put a wonder clip on it right here. And then when I stitch in hand, I just stitch, and I might pull some of this out of the way too. I probably wouldn't though. And I just keep it right here. So I just kind of roll and go. And I roll both sides to get them if I need to. But this one, Like this one, I don't take Wonder Clips to baseball, so I literally just roll whatever and do whatever. But this one's more of just like a casual, you know, just something to keep my hands busy. My son does sit on the bench quite a bit. Their team is pretty big, so there's a lot of time where my kid's not on the field, and I mean, I don't know anybody else on the field to watch. I don't know any of the kids' names. Most of the kids go to his school, but like none of them have been in his class or anything like that, so I'm not familiar with any of the kids. I paid for sail away. When will we get the PDF? This Friday. So this Friday you'll get the first one, and then you'll get the second one each Friday after, and it will be in the morning. Carolyn wants to know, will there be a cross-stitch pattern and a sew-along for Lori Holt's new line called Stitch? My fingers are crossed. Yes. No details yet, but yes. And it's going to be amazing, and I'm going to stitch it with you guys, and you're going to love it, but it's not. We usually do the cross stitches quite a bit after the fabric. What are alternatives ways to stop fraying if you don't have a sewing machine? So there's two things you can do. You can buy Fray Check, which is like a liquid. And what you would do is I would put newspaper, maybe not newspaper, something under your table. And you would just pour the Fray Check on here and let it dry. You could do that, or you can use masking tape. And you could also try to use, what's that other tape called? The paper tape, but it comes off easier. The scrapbook paper tape. What's it called? Trying to think. Washi tape, but that seems to come off. So painter's tape from, and if you go to Lowe's, they have a green one that's super cute and it's not ugly. So Lowe's has it, not Home Depot. How do I know? Because I've been there too many times. Are you stitching one stitch at a time? Yes. So on this one, I am stitching one stitch at a time, and I can go faster from right to left. So I'll do one stitch and I go this way, and then when I go this way, I turn it over and travel that way so that I can go faster. But yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess. How do you iron your cross stitch? Do you use steam? I'm always looking so flat and wrinkle free. It always looks so flat and wrinkle free. Oh, okay. So we do use steam. You probably shouldn't if you're using hand dyed, but we do. And we just iron right on it. Will Sail Away be released as a paper pattern once it is done? No. So our stitch alongs that we do, we only do those as PDFs. Today is my birthday. I have the day off, so I'm watching. Yay, happy birthday. Happy birthday. So we're gonna move to previous finish. So this is our previous finish. It's called Penelope and Peep. I stitched it in March 2020, and I used the called for Classic Colorworks. And this fabric is Aqua Dyed Effect by Witchell. And Priscilla finished it on this frame that she found in her stash, and she used Chalky Chicks picket fence paint to frame it, and then she put a little bow. So this is a Stitching with the Housewives pattern, and I left the little word off. I think I was too scared to stitch it. And then I'm going to show you our club feature for this week. It's Almond Cream by NPI. So this is the 4th package that has gone out for the NPI club, and you get 5 a month. So that's awesome. So if you are in that club, it has already shipped. And then I'm going to show you the flash sale real quick. This is a flash sale, are these Allery scissors. And then this one will probably sell out. Come Into My Garden by Blackbird Designs. And then I wanted to show you something really fun. So yesterday we got to grant a Make-A-Wish. So if you look right there in the top right, that is our cross stitch for Make-A-Wish, and we raise money every year. And we got to take Charlotte to Build-A-Bear yesterday morning. So we went to Build-A-Bear and we got there super early, and this is her arriving. She arrived in a limo, And she was the cutest little thing. She's 3. She has leukemia and she's about to start. They schedule, I don't know if you know, but with Make-A-Wishes, they do schedule the grants very close to when they start aggressive treatment. So she's actually been in treatment for 14 months, and they held the wish to wait until stuff was going to start getting kind of harder. So in there, it's so cute. She has a little, her car seat is in there. So when she got there, she got balloons, and then I'll show you a couple other pictures. So we went into Build-A-Bear and she was ready to go. She was not waiting. Like, she did not wait for us to do anything. She just went right over. She got that bear. At the top, it's a bear, and the bottom, it's a mermaid. And she got that thing so fast. I mean, she was faster than my kids in that store. She was ready to go. And then, so what she was able to get was she was able to get a bear, the clothes, the shoes. And then we gave her some gifts. She really likes Minnie Mouse. So that's actually on her back is her bear that's all made up. And then they put it in a little backpack. And then we gave her some gifts. And then, let's see. We were trying to get her to show her the bear. She was, at this point, she was ready to go. She was ready to go home. And then we got her to do a group photo at the end. And so those are her parents on the right. That's me and Kevin on the left. And Jocelyn's in the center. She's the one that came up with this whole idea. And so you guys donated to that. So she's going to get that. But she's also on Sunday going to get like a little car that she can drive around and some other little things. She wanted an iPad because she's about to go into the hospital. So she wanted something that she could have there. So there's more coming, and we will share photos of that. So all of you guys who have donated, I think we've raised $71,000, and so we're going to be able to grant a lot of wishes like that. Just an update from Make-A-Wish. They one of the reasons the wishes have slowed down, that you're not going to see as many, is number one, the donations by big corporate businesses have gone down. They're starting to come back, but also they cannot grant wishes at Disneyland or Disney World right now because they're not allowing that yet. And so they said that the kids are getting really creative, and they're doing like gaming rooms or hot tubs or just different things like that, because they can't really grant a lot of the wishes. And if you do a wish, you have to do it within 1,000 miles of your home, and it has to be car only for now. But anyway, that was so sweet. And Charlotte is her family's gonna keep in touch with us and kind of just, see how she's doing. We've kept in touch with a couple of the other families also. So if you have any questions on Make-A-Wish, definitely ask me. I got to spend a lot of time with the director of Austin yesterday, and so she gave Kevin and I a lot of insight into some of the different things they're doing and how they're changing as an organization. That is so wonderful you donate to Make-A-Wish. Oh, thank you. But you guys donate too. And like Anita said, happy to participate. So that's awesome. As a beginner, I watched your older FlossTube, and it was a great help, and I'm excited for your new series. Sadly, I'm going to do more watching than stitching at this point. Sometimes we go through periods where we stitch more and we do less, and I think that's okay. Would you consider giving us an alphabet pattern we can use to personalize our mesh projects with? So we do. We have an alphabet PDF that we sell. It's called Cross Stitch Alphabet. Any new crime series lately? Not really. I kind of feel like there's not much to watch. Nothing new that I know of. I did watch First Ladies. That's not a crime series. That was a documentary on HBO. It was okay. But no, not anything out yet. But if you know of anything, please tell me, because I'm desperate to watch anything. Kimberly asks, do you do a running stitch with straight borders? I'm trying to think of the one that we did that was a Lori Holt pattern that had the running stitch. Sew by row. Okay, let me show that one. So that one, I did do one stitch. I didn't really do a running stitch per se. I did pull up and pull down so my stitches would be even. And I think I might have shown that on a Stitchy Talk. So here I pulled up and then went down. I really didn't do running where you just keep the needle going because I was afraid my stitches would be uneven. And this is the sample that Cheryl stitched. And we're going to keep it a couple of months, but then we're going to mail it to Lori so she can show it on her channel. Design small quilts for little people in this program. Oh, yes, yes, and she needs a quilt. Yes, she does need a quilt. We will get her a quilt. So Sunday is going to be her grant, and Kevin and I are going to try to go. But we think it's at the same time as our daughter's show, and I mean, I can't miss my daughter's show. So we're going to probably go there after, so we can find a quilt from here and take it and then show pictures. Oh, notice how Kimberly's face lights up when she talks about Make-A-Wish. She's amazing. Thank you. Yes, yesterday I was actually really sick. Really sick. And I woke up at 3 a.m. and was like, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this bed. Boy, I got out of bed and I went to that Make-A-Wish. I sure did. And then I went home and slept the rest of the day. But I'm not going to miss a Make-A-Wish. And I'm so excited that they're able to do Make-A-Wishes now. So they said this is one of their first wishes they've done in person. It's the second one they've done. And the mall opened up early, so nobody else would be there. So she was there with, nobody was there. The store was closed. They opened just for her, and she loved it. Oh my gosh. What would you use, Aida, for Kringles? Maybe graceful gray. I would use a gray. And then I'm going to end with new items that we have. So this was Friday's release from Priscilla and Chelsea from Stitching with the Housewives. It's red, white, and blue. And then this is their PDF release. These are both PDFs. This is the PDF release for today called Proud to Be an American. And actually it has a bonus chart and it's typography and it says stars and stripes. I might stitch it so that I can show it to you guys. And then this, I know Lori's going to be so excited for me to show. So when I went to her house over the summer, or whenever I went to her house, I guess it wasn't summer, I guess it was like Thanksgiving. She showed me this pattern and she said, I really think you should make this. So we did. I made it at her house. I think I finished the whole thing at her house. And this is her 25 count parchment Lugana, and I stitched it with 2/2, and I used Weeks Dye Works Bayberry and 3 strands. So we did do a kit. I did get this framed. Let's see where I got it framed. Yeah, I got it framed at Artworks. And this is the funniest story ever. So we went to Shepherd's Bush and we were shopping for so many things that I got confused, and I had picked I thought it was the perfect green. But then when I went to check out, I thought, I don't need these greens. That was for something else. So I put them back. And when we got home, we didn't have any greens. And I was like, how am I going to stitch this? So we changed the color, and I had to steal her threads. And I felt so bad, but it looks so good. I love it. So this is all Lori Holt's brainchild. So we have the pattern, the fabric, the thread, the kit, the anything you want, and I love it. I can't wait to put it up at Christmas. It was kind of difficult though, the 25 count. But this one I did at her house and I just used a lamp, like a magnifier, so I wasn't traveling all over the place with it. And we also got the last 2 in the fall is in the Air series. So there's a part 1 that we've shown, and these are part 2 and part 3. There's a total of 6. So you could do 1 by 6, you could do 1 by 6, you could do 3 by 2. And then you guys were so awesome and you commented that Emma Congdon, I don't know how to say it, I'm so sorry, has a first book. So this is her first book. So I'm going to flip through this one like I did the other one. Well, actually I can just show you this. And she does have an Etsy site, and that's where most of her stuff is. So if you're interested in any of these and you don't want to buy the book with all of it, she does have an Etsy site. But the book is amazing. I mean, I think eventually I'll have to do one of these. What green did I use? I used Weeks Dye Works Bayberry. And, and I don't remember what I had at the store, but I just remember it wasn't that. And that's just like Lori and I, we just get carried away and we just kind of lose track of stuff. Is a new cross stitch, what is 2/2? So 2/2 means that I'm using a even weave that is smaller stitches, so you stitch over 2. And we do have a video that Cheryl stitched on how to stitch with even weave or linen, and it's on our channel. It wasn't difficult, Kimberly, because the proof is that you started it and finished it at my house in 5 days. Yeah, that's true. I did. Is Shepherd's Bush open to the public now? I'm not sure. We had made an appointment, and we made an appointment, and we wore gloves and all of that. And it was quite a while ago. Wowzers, it's so fun to see again. It looks beautiful framed. Yes, thank you. And it's all your idea. Will O Christmas Tree be available as a pattern only? Yes. So that designer only does patterns. They don't do PDFs. Would you consider texting as opposed to emailing when a club opens up? We could put that, we can ask Kevin about that. Denise can ask Kevin. I have no idea if that's in the works or not. So here I do all the creative stuff and Kevin does all the behind the scenes stuff. I don't know if that's on the list, but we can ask. Can you get just the pattern and not just the kit? Yes. So we sell just the pattern. Oh, yeah. And it's by All Through the Night, and it's Bonnie Sullivan from All Through the Night, and she's actually the designer of Woolies Flannel, and she is a very popular designer for Maywood Designs, and her sister is Kathy Schmitz, who is a Moda fabric designer, and she also does a lot of applique. So guys, thanks for watching today. I will be back next week with a ton of stuff because we're starting FQS Stitch Mania. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys then. Bye.